I used to have a 3 KD in solos in Chapter 4, Season 4, and have since improved to an 8, almost 9 KD in Chapter 5. What did I change to improve so fast? Well, most of it I believe has to do with my drop spot. I started landing just outside one of the hot drops to improve my chances of obtaining a decent loadout and some health before fighting the better players in the lobby. This place is this oceanfront area right south of Fencing Fields. A lot of times you'll find that there's a bunch of bots that land here, or there's not such good players that land here. So it's easier to make it out of this place alive, and there's also some slurp barrels so that you can get HP. There's lots of loot, chests, so oftentimes I come out of here with shockwaves, sometimes a grapple, and usually always full of shields, and then I rotate down to this area over here where there's a tall building on an island, and there's also a vault. So there's more good chances of getting good loot. And basically I loot up in this area, and then once I clear out this area, I look for all the players. I'd start rotating to Fencing Fields to try to battle for the medallion. So once you get to Fencing Fields, I would highly recommend being very careful because there's a lot of ratty players. But this increased my chances of survival in Fortnite like by so much you wouldn't even believe, because I'm able to fight these better players with a higher chance of beating them because I actually have decent weapons, or at least halfway decent weapons. Whereas if you dropped here, you'd have a much lower chance of having the same weapons that I'm getting when I'm rotating over here. Like you saw when I rotated over there, I already had like blue weapons, and then I could actually fight these people. I wasn't using just no attachment weapons that are green. I had actually decent loot, I had movement, so if I got in a tight situation, I could just get out of the situation. So these things all increase your chances of survival a lot. These are things that you really need to take into consideration when you're playing your games. Every piece of your loadout helps you progress further in the game. If you don't have good weapons that you're not comfortable with, it's going to decrease your chances of beating people in fights. If you don't have movement items, it's going to decrease your chances of finishing people that run away, or people that you snipe. It might be harder to finish them before they can heal. So you want to finish your fights as fast as possible. So it's very important to have these weapons and have strong weapons and set yourself up for success. So after I'm done with fencing, I like to it really depends. Sometimes I go snooty, or sometimes I just rotate to where the next medallion team is. It just kind of depends. But after I get that first medallion, I love getting this mythic AR and kit out my sniper with the 2x, drum mag, the angle grip, and the suppressor. That's pretty much the key parts of my loadout, the sniper and the AR. The shotgun, honestly, pump or frenzy doesn't really matter. I have been using the frenzy more. But these are the things that will increase your chances of winning the game. You want to set yourself up for success, which is what we do with the Fencing Field, both the medallion and the AR. The AR is very strong, and the medallion is good because I like to run double movement, which is shockwaves and the grapple blade. So when you use this setup here with these movement items, basically you have to get medallions, because if you get damaged, I mean, you don't have any shields, so it's very critical to get the medallions. And I like to always go after all the other players that have medallions, because I want to eliminate all the good players from the lobby. And also it increases my rate of shield regeneration and the max shield that I can regenerate, which is very useful for when I'm playing with this aggressive playstyle with all these movement items. So that's basically the general gist of it. You really want to make sure that you're getting a good loadout at the start and not fighting too many people at the start, especially real players. So that spot I mentioned at the start, it has lots of bots in solos usually. I mean, I think at the start I've only killed one real player of the first 6 people I killed, and then as you see, as I progress through the game, I'm actually killing real players. I go after the people with the medallions, and then after I kill all the people with the medallions, I usually just like drive around in a car Driving around in vehicles is also something that you can do to increase your rate of survival in these games. It's very underrated, I guess you would say. Not everyone likes vehicles, but I really like the vehicles. They're good for cover. If people shoot at you, it's pretty much impossible to get one-shot sniped, which is one of the most frustrating things this season. So if you're in the vehicle, it's just really good to stay alive. So I'd highly recommend you make use of these vehicles as well. And just keep in mind that if you're just running around with a grapple and shockwaves, you know, you're much more exposed. So you just gotta keep that in mind. And that's a different playstyle. That's not really my playstyle. I really like using these vehicles. But basically, using all of these tactics, this is what's gotten me to have such a high success rate this season. And I would highly suggest that you guys implement this in your gameplay. Think about where you're dropping and really loot up before you take fights against real people, because that's what really increases your chances of winning games. So hope this helps you guys. Subscribe if you learned anything, and let me know in the comments down below where you guys drop and what you'd like to see in the future. Thank you.